How difficult is it to get a job in fast food?
Not that hard.
Not that hard, especially for people of color. What about in retail?
Not hard
Not
at
that
all.
hard.
What about in transportation, like driving an Uber
Not
or
that
Not
hard.
that hard.
okay. What about working for a city job, like driving the city bus?
Not
Not
hard.
that hard.
But to work at the front desk, how hard is that?
Hard.
And there may not be many of those jobs, right? The point I'm trying to make here is that the reality is to get a quality job is where it sounds like we are meeting some challenges. I'm so glad to have you all here today. I know this is your first time here with us on the show called The Mission and the Mandate. Our mission is really to bring the voice of the community to the field of practitioners in the workforce development space. So I'm super excited to have each of you all here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Certainly, I'm excited to see you all. I think about Taraya, we've done some work before. All of us, we worked together before as you were on your quest to either start your career or to restart it or to turn a corner in your career. And so today I wanted to invite you all out to talk with me about the accessibility, a lot in terms of accessing a quality job. There's a lot of talk in the country now about after the pandemic, all of these cities are talking about having an inclusive and an equitable recovery. And so we have been seeing, you know, one time there was like the great resignation where people had to leave their jobs during the pandemic, following the pandemic. Now people are trying to go back to work and people are looking for good jobs. They're looking for jobs that have time off. They're looking for jobs that have retirement accounts. They're looking for jobs that have flexible hours. And these are the things that employers are saying, hey, we're looking for. They're also looking for opportunities to grow. They're looking for ways to build their skills and build their knowledge bases and really be a part of a movement in areas that they want to work in. So we have some of that coming from like the job seekers. We have the job seekers naming what they want, right? We have employers saying, here's all the wonderful things we provide. But sometimes the employers are saying that we don't have access to the talent that we need. And so I know many of you all are, like I said, getting started in your career or restarting it. So talk to me about some of your career journey. Can you just give me some quick insights on some of the highlights of your career? Tisha first.
Well, right now, my name is Tisha Johnson, and right now, my journey is more so getting back acclimated in the workforce. I've been out of the workforce since the pandemic, but more so, I've been actively seeking employment. However, and there are a lot of jobs out there, opportunities. They are, but as you mentioned, they are looking for a certain skill set. So, what I did, I went and obtained my certification in IT, so I can compete with the younger generation. I'm a little older, and it's much harder now for me because I'm set in some ways, and employers look at that at your age sometimes. You may see that you're already set in your ways. So that's kind of been the challenge because with me in the workforce, a majority of my supervisors will be younger than me. So building back up my confidence and building up my skill set that's in tune with new technology. That's been one of my challenges.
So have you talked to any employers before? Like, have you had an interest in employment? Have you talked to those employers?
I have.
What are they saying to you? Are they telling you? What are they saying to you?
Well, they're not actually giving me that much information feedback. Pretty much, they would say right now that they maybe went with another candidate or someone who better suits their needs. That's more so what I've been receiving back. From temp agencies, however, that's the route I have been going, and I've been getting a little more response from them than in the more traditional of government or
Yeah.
federal that we're familiar with in DC and nonprofit. However, with the temps, I've been getting a little more feedback from them, and what they've been uh, just saying is, if you have this certain skill set, then we'll bring you
Yeah.
on.
So let me just stay there for a minute because you're talking about, are you a career changer?
Yes, I'm a career
Okay.
changer,
So you're looking forward to get into what kind of a field?
the IT field.
IT, information technology. And have you taken any certification programs?
Yes, I have. Fortunately, DC has a lot of opportunities for DC residents, and I took that opportunity and I obtained my A plus certification,
Okay.
Security Plus,
Yep.
AWS,
Okay.
and now I'm currently Network.
Okay.
I have ISC2 Cybersecurity.
Okay.
I have about six
Gotcha.
certifications
Okay.
right
So
now.
that's good. So that's good. So you're basically saying I'm a career changer here. I've gotten these credentials. We know that I think the data you're in DC, so the data in DC, I believe there's like 10,000 vacancies every year in the IT field, right?
Yes.
So you have the IT skills, but is it skills that they're looking for or are they looking for experience?
They're looking for experience and skills. Well, a lot of them, wherever you go, even in IT, they're going to have to train you on their system away. So, what they're looking for is that personality and behavior that works for their company and for
Gotcha.
them. They're looking for that. In a lot of these opportunities, I'm sorry, one more thing. They're kind of far out because Virginia being a data center, a lot of these IT tech jobs are way out in Chantilly and Sterling, and a lot of people
Okay.
just don't want to take that commute.
Okay. So I hear you saying, okay, there's experience, there's organizational culture that they're looking for, and then you're saying location can be challenging
Right.
in terms of the accessibility. So then, if you were in charge and you could provide the best solution, right, that would get you access to that job, what would it be?
If I could provide the best solution to give me access to that job, would training. I would train the employees on the skill set that we're looking for. If you obtain your certification or just say your basic A plus, and we're asking for more skills that are more daunting skills, I would bring them on and train them because you're going to have to train them on your systems
Yes.
anyway and build them and build that in that individual in that role of catering to what your company needs are.
Yeah.
I don't know if I say that correctly,
Gotcha. So
but
you're saying they should have an onboarding situation where, like, I know apprenticeships are becoming a popular thing nowadays, and that's designed to do that.
apprenticeship.
But for a person changing a career, like, you're probably looking for, with responsibilities, I'm assuming, like, the apprenticeship is not necessarily like a full paid job. It's a stipend, pretty good stipend, but not necessarily a pretty good salary. So I hear you on that. Now, what about but you also listed like the proximity of jobs. Like DC is a metropolitan area where like you can get on a metro, you can get on a regional train, you can, take a Uber, you can drive, you can take a bus. So they have a pretty good transportation system. So talk to me about why location is a challenge.
Location's a challenge in DC. Well, because we're the DMV, there's DC, Maryland, Virginia, and everyone kind of works coming to DC. DC is a high living wage area city. Virginia and Maryland, their minimum wage It's a little less than DC. So the same job you may find in DC will be at 25 an hour, where you would go into Virginia and it's 19. And if you live in the district, that can be a challenge because of the high rent area. This is an expensive area. So that is one of the main challenges I've noticed.
So although there may be, as the employers would say, we can't find people to fill these jobs, you're saying there are some accessibility challenges that people are willing, but there are other challenges, transportation, perhaps having a good onboarding or entry level process to get me into the company to learn about your organizational culture. Has anyone else on this, Terrence and Taraya, have you all experienced some of these things or something different in your quest?
Well, I would say that a couple issues that I've noticed is job listings. Even for entry level, they want you to have 2 to 3 years of experience.
Okay.
Especially if you just graduated. Like I'm transitioning from another career field, which was retail and hospitality.
Okay.
I'm entering the IT world.
Okay.
I went out, I got my certifications. I currently have 3, but I'm working on my 4th one now.
Okay.
And when you read some of these job postings, you'll either see a situation where they're asking for experience, or they might ask you for knowledge of this software. But it's a software that you don't typically run into training programs
Gotcha.
for.
Okay.
Also, sometimes they'll list certifications or qualifications that don't exist anymore, such as Microsoft Certified Professional. I read a job posting this year, but that expired in 2019. And that's a huge listing. So a lot of people wouldn't have that if you're just now getting into.
Okay.
I see.
So you're saying for accessibility purposes, like there are tons of vacancies out there. So like I said, I know the number in DC is 10,000. IT is an in-demand career field, of course. So we have like 10,000 annual openings. But you're saying, one, you have work experience, right?
Yes.
And you have IT credentials.
Yes.
And when you bring both of those things together, you're saying they won't measure up. So, like, I would imagine you are coming from the retail and hospitality space, right? So, I'm assuming there's probably a lot of customer service, a lot of problem solving in that, right? Those are probably some skills that you need. Then you have this IT training. I'd imagine entry level IT is probably more like help desk, telecommunications, like getting people devices, helping people reset passwords, right? And so you're saying at that level, a person with years of experience in problem solving, customer service, and IT can't gravitate toward an entry level IT position?
It's more of, okay, do you have, like, I'll give you an example. I had got a call from a potential employer about a contract for 3 months.
Okay.
Instead of, like, I remember the exact job posting.
Okay.
Entry level IT help desk. It required no experience
Okay.
when I had called, and they said they were located in Washington, D.C. I get the call. He tells me, oh, no, we're located all the way out Chantilly, far out Chantilly. And he said, oh, no, you need 2 to 3 years experience or you need a college degree. And it's a lot of job postings like that where you'll read a posting, it's not as accurate as when they
All right. So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Tisha. If you were in charge for that particular barrier, what would you do? What decision would you make?
a little bit more transparency in job postings.
Okay.
There needs to be some type of program to weed out, okay, this person says they have this and that. Maybe we should give them a chance to see if we can bring them on. Because you'll pass up a good employee
Yeah.
that way if
Okay.
you don't give them a chance.
So I hear a theme here. So it sounds like you went toward the experience job description route, but I do hear you saying the very similar thing is that it's really giving people an opportunity, and especially at that entry level, like to remove some of those barriers of like, this is an entry level job. Who would have 2 or 3 years of experience at an entry level job?
Exactly.
You know, that's good stuff. Taraya, what about you? Tell me a little bit about what you're looking to do. And
Well, I had graduated from the RISE program, and I was afforded a very good job at one of the best schools in DC. And I thought everything was going well, and then they had a budget cut, and I was cut from the budget. It was me and another woman who was in the same position, and they chose her over
Okay.
me over longevity. She was there longer than I was. It put me in a very awkward position because now I don't know where to go on, you know. And I was looking and looking, similar to what they were saying. They do want you to have 2 to 3 years of experience working in the front office, and they are prioritizing Spanish speaking. And it's a little hard getting that when I don't speak Spanish, but I'm capable of still doing the job.
yeah, what do you think might be next for you?
I don't know.
You want to stay in education?
Education is, to me, kind of like beating a dead horse. The system just keeps going down and down and down. And it seems like schools now are more so focusing on making it like a business. You'll see a lot of schools who are trying to raise money and raise more money and more money. And I don't see how it's benefiting the child if you're getting $75,000 and put in your hand. You know, so I don't think I want to teach right now.
Okay.
So finding where I can have a job, make decent money, but where I'm useful.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good. That's good. So I think you have anybody who can work in a school, certainly. I was a teacher. I taught elementary school, and then I went on into some other leadership roles in school districts across the country for about 15 years. So certainly when it comes to careers that we're passionate about, there can be a number of things that will happen that make us go, this wasn't what I thought it was. I don't think that has to kill the passion for the work.
Right.
But it sounds like your biggest passion is helping people and being useful in that. So, and it sounds like some of the things that you may have done are the skills are very transferable. So, have you found employment? How long have you been looking for employment?
I got basically fired 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I've been looking for employment ever since.
Okay.
I've worked on my resume using the skills that we had learned
Yep.
and working on my cover letter day to day. And I have applied. A lot of jobs still want more experience. A lot of them are still, again, with the Spanish, because I'm applying for like clerical front office
Okay.
work. I'm trying to stay without in that field because that's where my brain is the most freshest. I just got out
Yeah.
of that. So I'm trying to find that, but I also still want to make more money. Living in DC, paying $1,300-$1,400 rent every single month and not being able and making $1,300-$1,400 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It kind of is like living paycheck to paycheck.
Yes. Okay. So, all right. So you've been on the job market for 3 weeks, right? And you're running into. It sounds very similar to what Terrence is saying, that the job descriptions are even a barricade or a barrier, because I would imagine, I know at our front desk, the people at our front desk aren't able to speak any other language. I mean, we have a person on our team, 1 or 2 people on our team who can speak Spanish, I believe. But one of the things we have at our front desk is a language access line. And so in 2023, I would imagine the language access line would be pretty available across the board. But it sounds like when we think about access and, I'm just reading this that says employers need more skilled workers, but they say they can't find them. I feel personally responsible for helping people connect with those jobs that are good, especially people who are black and brown and look like me, because that's where you know, the biggest inequities are. Again, this is about taking the voice of the community. You all represent the community, and I talk to other professionals and other colleagues, and I want to certainly go and say what you all are saying. 'Cause I want to be able to say, I talk to people who could fill those jobs, and here is what they're saying. And we've heard about some of the barriers to access. We've heard transportation as a barrier, and not necessarily just transportation, but when you connect like geography and transportation. So yeah, there's a lot of transportation in the city, but to drive and to park, for a job that's paying barely above minimum wage, it cuts in, so that becomes a barrier. Then there are job descriptions for entry level positions, like starter jobs, so to speak, origin jobs, as some would call it. And you're requiring 2 to 3 years of experience for something that's really the starting. So that's a barrier. And then there are other structural challenges around, language and around some other requirements that are really, I guess, designed to eliminate people and not necessarily bring about an inclusive recovery. When you think about an inclusive recovery, then I would be looking for language that's more inclusive. But if you can think about over this past 12 months, and I know, we were at different phases of employment. And I know that some are in some starter roles now, but let's think about to a job that you really thought you wanted. I know this job would set me in my career. What would you tell that hiring manager? What would you go back and say?
I think the one job, or that one job that I really had my heart set on and it thought that would give me a kick, I thought I came in presentable, spoke well, confident. I had the background, the certification. So I quite don't know what I would say. Only thing I would say I would have to go with Terrence is to give an opportunity or give a chance, especially at entry level. And as this job was an apprentice program with DC government, and but I think it would have well had me take off. However, I didn't get selected, and I think I did not a bad job. But I really don't know. I would have to go with what Terrence said. Is just giving someone an opportunity, and just that from there.
Anyone else has anything different?
I would say to be more open minded. Everybody does not come from the same background. Some people get their training at the job, some people get their training in the streets, some people get their training through other programs. And so to be more willing to accept people and not just look at their name and say no, or look at them not having a degree and say no.
Yeah.
I would say that in order for stuff like situations like this to where people are looking for jobs, but for you to say, oh, there's not enough people wanting to work, and that's not the case. When you have people with transferable skills, people that are certified in whatever job you ask for, but you choose not to hire them, that falls back on you.
Okay, so no one owes anyone anything, right? But I guess where I just get stuck at is on like accessibility to like an entry job. So like, I don't know, how difficult is it to get a job in fast food?
Not that hard.
Not that hard, especially for people of color. What about in retail?
Not that hard.
What about in transportation? Like driving an Uber
Not
or
that
Not that hard.
okay. What about working for a city job, like driving the city bus?
Not hard.
Not that hard.
Okay. But to work at the front desk, how hard is that?
Hard.
And there may not be many of those jobs, right? You see? And so the point I'm trying to make here is that, and I appreciate the fact that you all are taking agency over your life and that you're not allowing the inequities and what people believe and think about you to like stop you from going after it. But the reality is, to get a quality job is where it sounds like we are meeting some challenges. That if you want, because all those jobs are origin jobs, by the way. I mean, you're talking about making $19 an hour as a help desk. Fast food pays $17.40 an hour on minimum wage. So you're not even talking about like a big jump, right?
Exactly.
And so there has to be something else then that keeps people who look like all of us from landing the job that is a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, weekends and holidays off, multiple weeks of vacation, health care, retirement. There must be something else there. And so I want to wrap with this to just say, like I said, there's structure, and that really deals with the system. And then there's agency, which deals with the individual. So each of you have agency over your life, and you can continue to fight against the inequities. My role is to certainly take to the field what we've heard today. Like if we're on a mission to really have an inclusive recovery after the pandemic, if we are really going to build systems where everybody can thrive economically, if we're going to eradicate generational poverty and build wealth in all communities in the cities across America, then we have to take some mandates here. Like we have training programs, and that's good, and folks can take advantage of it, but it sounds like what we are hearing from persons who are starting careers and who have landed jobs, like it's really difficult for them to get into an entry level job, although they have years of experience in problem solving and critical thinking and various skills that employers are saying are top when it comes to hiring people. So there's a mandate here that we have to have a call of action. We have to say to employers who are hiring, whether you are a Fortune 500 company, whether you are a small business, you need to find ways to increase your pool of applicants and to also understand that bringing someone into entry-level jobs still gives you an opportunity to grow them and to train them and to really bring them into the organizational culture. The charge and the challenge for employers, whether you are a Fortune 500 company or a small business, is to really take a look at your job description development and to determine, are these requirements completely necessary? Do these requirements we've laid out, are they actually allowing for us to have inclusionary practices? Are these requirements that we're setting forth just a tradition or a standard that's actually creating a barrier to diversity, equity, and inclusion? And so our mandate from here is to think about ways in which we can resolve some of the challenges, geography, and that coupled with transportation challenges, and that coupled with pay. Thinking about how we write job descriptions, we need to take a look at that. We need to also take a look at, like, are we requiring something that could be taught by us, and is it really necessary? So again, this is Cedric Thompson, your workforce evangelist, coming to you with the mission and the mandate. The mission here is to create access for job seekers from all backgrounds. And our mandate simply is that as employers, we have to take a look at how we are really fostering inclusionary practices. This has been our mandate. Stay tuned for the next session where we will discuss more here at the Mission and the Mandate.